can start with an opening statement when you're ready.
Yes. I think first and foremost, it's a collective effort by every player on this team, but everyone contributed to what we were trying to do. Atlanta's a really long, athletic team that causes some problems for you because of athleticism and size and aggressiveness. And I thought that never bothered us. So we got into a rhythm offensively. And then when they challenged us, we were able to have enough confidence to weather the storm. And I could go through a list of people, but it would probably be the entire team. I guess because she's standing back there breathing, she's been an X factor for us in so many ways. Prior to tonight, the things that you guys don't know, she'll play the 2, 3, and 4. And there's 40 different things you have to remember. And tonight it was nice to see her marry some of that with, I think, a double-double, 20 and 16. Cappy being a facilitator, Vandersloot with 13 assists. But most importantly, to go in at halftime and to make an adjustment and limit Angel in the second half. Every coach in the history of basketball that plays against her wants to do it. So we all have these great plans. But when players can go out and execute, that's the next level of becoming a better team. And I think it always starts with Tamara Young, and then it always continues with the other players. Being able to not put them on the free throw line 38 times like they did the first time we played them, or 31 times last time they were here. So great effort by a number of people, and we need to rest, reset, and get ready for the next round.
When you go into the playoffs like you did, winning 7 of 10, and then you have a game like this where it just seems like, and I know their confidence level already was high, but you could, by watching the whole game, you could see their confidence level continue to build just about every play, knowing that they could win this game. Did you see it that way?
Yeah, I felt it a long time ago, when maybe not as many eyes were watching, so that gives you positive pause. A lot of eyes are on the game right now. New format, playoffs, an upset by Atlanta. We're down a player. So for me, they just took the next step of doing what they've probably done since the Olympic break. But the stakes are high, and you want to see how they respond. And of course, you felt like it was a playoff game, but I didn't feel any panic or frustration. We didn't do things well, like coming out the third quarter. Second quarter, actually not getting some buckets. So I think that's the next level of maturity, and we did that tonight.
When you get ready to go to this next round here, what are you facing in a team like Los Angeles?
Yeah, the number 2 seed, length, candidates for MVPs, players that maybe should have been on an Olympic team, but not on an Olympic team, veteran players, veteran coach. I say that not to try to, it's real. So going into that, it's nice that we have some momentum and we're doing some positive things, and there'll have to be some adjustments for us as well. But arduous task, but it's the playoffs. And I think since the break, we've become a better team, a more balanced team with more people contributing. And sometimes it's a different person on a different night. You know Kathy, what she's going to bring. You know Sloop and those other players that are stepping in and giving quality minutes. That's what it's going to take against an LA team.
Kathy, I'm Pokey.
It happens all the time.
It's a compliment, right?
Yes, yes.
You talk about just playing different positions. The 4 is really more her natural position, but she's, with personnel, she's had to move around a little bit. Can you just, expand a little bit more on that, kind of the selflessness of the way she plays?
I can, because I can go back to our second game against Seattle here. She allowed us to play a small lineup. She was the 5, Elena was the 4. I can fast forward, to an Indiana game after T and Elena were injured. We went to a smaller lineup. And then the next game against Connecticut, we went to a big one, and she's the 3. So she went from 5, 4, 3 in a span of 7 days. No one thinks about that. But you got to decide how you guard pick and roll defense. From guarding a certain player, you got to think about the plays that we're calling, and that to me doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but it shows up in our locker room, and that's been tremendous for us because it takes pressure off of other people. because she's able to flow with that.
One thing that stands out in the stat sheet is what your bench did against, versus their bench. I think it was 27-7 or something like that. You outscored them by 20 points. Is that just a combination of making the substitutions when you have to, and then those players act, just performing up to their level or better?
Yeah, but to be honest, they're doing what they've always done. And I wish I could say I did something grand. You think about Faulkner, when Sloop went down, she started. So she has that comfort and confidence. Think about Allie, that's what she's supposed to do. And I think the compliment comes that you're doing it with a player down. Actually, 2 players were down for a couple of games, and a player down on a different stage. So I think they're continuing to do what they've always done. And I think, I'm so glad you said that, because to me, therein lies the difference. Especially with the format when it was single elimination, you have to be ready for those opportunities. And so they gave me confidence that they can go out there and do it.
Coach,
Yes.
So reading the headlines this morning, or even just in general about this game, there was a lot of people whose predictions, they really doubted your team, and kind of figured, especially after Angel Cautry's performance in the prior game, that you guys wouldn't take the win here. That being said, kind of looking at the way that your players played out there on the court today, do you feel that you've proved, that you can function without Elena Delle Donne?
I did see the headlines, not surprised. I think what's most important is that they've known that prior to, having a win on the stage on ESPN or in the playoffs. And part of it is we've had to play without Elena. The unfortunate thing is now fortunate. Her missing games, so it's not this, oh my God, panic. No, don't misunderstand me. It's not easy. But I think there's no panic in those players, but I'm never surprised. It's fine being the underdog.
What kinds of leadership, or from which players did you see out there, especially today?
Cappy, Sloot, stood out to me in terms of what I could hear. Tamara Young, in terms of what she was doing on both sides of the basketball, even when she was in a little bit of foul trouble, keeping her collective cool, which is hard to do sometimes because she's passionate in her fire. But there were just particular plays, Cappy has the ball and she recognizes Breland has a mismatch, and that's the maturity to the next level. So she punches it to Breland in the post because she has a smaller player on her. That to me is next level development for a team who has played well down the stretch.
So do you just look at this and say, hey, we're gonna plan as if Elena's not gonna play, or how do you approach the next series?
Yeah, that's how I've approached it, from the day she had surgery. I think that was Minnesota game. And then that way, everything else is gravy, It could be Merry Christmas to us, or, it's just one of those things where you have to, because we really don't know. I think sometimes people think we're trying to be coy about what we're letting out. Someone's like, why Chicago want people to know she's not playing? I'm just keeping it real. Our players deal with real. There's no secrets in basketball this late in the season. It's about players stepping up to the challenge and making plays. So I'm not afraid of that. But yeah, you have to approach it that way.
Coach,
you've always maintained with your team a focus of trying to concentrate on one game at a time. How do you feel like that may have helped build up their confidence level or their performance just going into this playoffs?
Yeah, I think every coach, that's their goal. But when you plant that seed with veteran winners, gold medal winning championship players like a Kathy Pondexter, then she can water it a little bit, and there's Sloot, and then it just becomes infectious because it's real. Because you think about it, we're the same when we lost 3 games in a row, back in May. We're San Antonio, that's the reality of it. We didn't get too low then, and we don't get too high now. And I can remember people were saying, well, if this playoff started today, you wouldn't be in. I'm like, well, they don't. And it's not a hard thing to do, especially when you have, some of that calm presence outside of my staff. That's helpful.
Coach, you said in your opening statements that at halftime you had to make some adjustments in terms of guarding Angel McCautry. Could you go a little bit more into detail on what those adjustments were?
Yeah, we wanted to limit her touches. We had 2 or 3 things that we were doing, but we had Tamara be a little bit more aggressive, and we took her on to help. We said, you don't have to help anyone else, we're just gonna come help you. To deny Angel the touches. And that way it takes the decision-making out of her hands, or maybe a iffy call, which that didn't happen tonight. I'm just saying, we want to eliminate some of those things. So it started there, and then we just became a little bit more disciplined because we didn't, I might tell a lie. How many free throws? At 5 for 8, that's great for me. For Angel playing 35 minutes in an elimination game, I was happy. I'm like, if she shoots under 12, we're good. So that was, they don't know that, but the coaches were happy about that.
Coach, can you expand on your thoughts on Courtney's performance today?
Yeah, Sluty, I don't know her stats. I feel like I know 13 assists. But if you guys remember in the very beginning, it's like she was back at Gonzaga, coming off the screens, looking to shoot, So it was nice for me to see. Like Zag Nation, it's just she had a confidence about her, but that's on offense. I thought defensively, she disrupted people, offensive foul, a turnover, just a lot of things, and that's growth. And sometimes you guys, like, some of that confidence comes from other players, like Kathy thinks she can take on the world. So hell, I think I can too. And so does Luke. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and so you can just see the chest swelling a little bit and having confidence in what they practice doing every day. If you guys were around all week, not the day before the game or right now, you wouldn't be surprised because that's what they do.
Any other questions?
Just one, Coach.
Yes.
Wanted to kind of find out, where is Elena right now in her rehabilitation? And is it realistic to think that she might be able to come in and shoot a few
Well,
in the upcoming rounds?
it's realistic. It'll depend on our success. She's not even 2 weeks out. I think Tuesday will be 2 weeks. So it's realistic, and we just don't know, how she'll respond. We made some decisions early to not travel her right after the surgery because of swelling and inability to take care of it. But we just don't know. I think we continue to play well and win, it becomes increasingly more likely, but we're not counting on that. It would just be bonus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.